At the edge of a sleepy mountain town, there was a field where nothing grew. The soil was dry, the wind was sharp, and scattered stones covered the ground like a forgotten graveyard. Each morning, an old man with a wide hat and bent back arrived with a wooden cart. He brought no seeds, no water, and no tools, only more stones. He placed each one by hand, slowly shaping the field with curves, lines, and patterns invisible to most. The townspeople thought he was odd. "You can't grow anything from stone," they said. Children laughed, called it a playground of rocks. Some pitied him, others ignored him. But he came every day. In summer heat and winter frost, he worked in silence. He never explained. He never stopped. Months passed, then years. The pattern expanded, circles formed within circles, rising like waves frozen in time. One day, a traveler hiked through the town and saw the stone field from above. He gasped. From that high place, the full design was clear. A massive spiral of perfect symmetry, a mosaic carved not from color but from patience. Word spread. People came not to laugh, but to walk the paths, to sit in the stillness the stones created. They didn't see crops or flowers. But they left feeling lighter, quieter, as if something inside them had been rearranged. The old man never asked for praise. He simply kept building, stone by stone, not to change the world, but to remind it that beauty doesn't always bloom. Sometimes, it's built. In a small town surrounded by hills, there was an old tree that stood outside a hospital window. Its branches were gnarled and bare, except for one stubborn leaf that clung tightly through the cold autumn winds. Inside the hospital, an elderly woman watched that leaf every day. She was weak and tired, her body slowly surrendering to illness. Doctors said there was little hope. Her family gathered, whispered prayers, and waited. But the woman found strength in the leaf. Each morning, she looked out the window and saw the leaf resist the storm, holding on when everything else had fallen away. It reminded her that life could be fragile but also fiercely resilient. One night, a fierce wind blew through the town, shaking branches and tearing away leaves. The woman worried the leaf would fall, and with it, her hope. The next morning, to everyone's surprise, the leaf was still there. Days passed, and the woman's health improved little by little. Nurses noticed her smile return, her eyes brighter than before. Weeks later, the tree was bare again, but by then, the woman was stronger. She told visitors about the leaf that never gave up. Sometimes, strength is not loud or obvious. Sometimes, it is the quiet, stubborn hope that keeps us holding on, like the last leaf on a winter branch. Deep within a vast, ancient forest, a river flowed gently and quietly. Unlike the thunderous waterfalls or the fast-moving streams nearby, this river never made a grand show. It wound slowly through the trees and rocks, carving its path with patience rather than force. Its surface was calm, reflecting the sky and the leaves above. For many years, the villagers who lived near the forest paid little attention to the quiet river. They admired the roaring rivers that rushed down the mountains, thinking that strength belonged only to those who made the loudest noise. They built their homes near the fast streams, believing the loud water would bring them power and energy. But the quiet river held a secret that the villagers could not see at first. Over time, it shaped the landscape in ways the faster rivers could not. Its steady flow softened the soil, nourished the roots of ancient trees, and created a peaceful habitat for countless animals. It carried water gently to every corner of the forest, supporting life quietly but surely. Years passed, and one summer, a terrible drought struck the region. The roaring rivers dried up or shrank to small trickles, leaving the villagers thirsty and worried. Only the quiet river continued to flow steadily, offering water to the parched land and to the people. During those hard months, the villagers learned an important lesson. They realized that power was not always loud or fast. True strength could be quiet and patient, slowly shaping the world over time without drawing attention. The river's gentle persistence was what kept the forest alive when others failed. From then on, the villagers respected the quiet river. They understood that greatness often lies not in sudden bursts of energy, but in the steady and enduring presence that supports life through all challenges. The river, with its humble and patient spirit, taught them that sometimes the softest voice carries the deepest wisdom. In a quiet village surrounded by hills, there was an old garden long forgotten by most. Its fences were broken, and wild plants had begun to take over. Few people visited, and the garden seemed destined to disappear beneath weeds and dust. One spring morning, a young woman named Lily arrived. She had heard stories of the garden's beauty from her grandmother, who once tended it with love and care. Determined to restore it, Lily brought gloves, tools, and a small bag of seeds she had carefully saved. She worked every day, pulling weeds, tilling soil, and planting the seeds one by one. At first, progress was slow. The earth was hard, and many seeds did not sprout. Some neighbors doubted her effort, saying the garden was too far gone to save. But Lily did not give up. She watered patiently, watched the sky for rain, and learned from each failed attempt. Slowly, green shoots began to appear. Tiny leaves unfurled, and soon flowers bloomed where once there was only neglect. Word spread, and others joined to help. The garden became a place of gathering, laughter, and hope. It was no longer forgotten but alive with color and life. Lily realized that the garden's beauty was not just in the flowers, but in the quiet resilience of a single seed, hidden beneath the surface, waiting for someone to believe in it. Her work reminded everyone that even when things seem lost, new beginnings are possible, if we only have the patience to nurture the hidden seeds within. In a bustling city filled with noise and constant movement, there lived a young composer named Ethan. Unlike the vibrant streets outside, Ethan's world was quiet. He spent hours alone in his small apartment, surrounded by sheets of music and an old piano that had belonged to his grandfather. Ethan's compositions were not loud or flashy. Instead, they were subtle and thoughtful, filled with delicate melodies that spoke softly to anyone who listened closely. For years, he shared his music only with a few close friends, fearing that the world was too noisy to appreciate his gentle sound. Despite his doubts, Ethan kept composing. Every day, he wrote notes, revised melodies, and poured his emotions into the music. Sometimes, he wondered if anyone would ever hear or understand his work. One evening, a famous conductor stumbled upon one of Ethan's pieces online. Captivated by its quiet beauty, she invited him to perform at a prestigious concert hall. Nervous but hopeful, Ethan agreed. On the night of the performance, the audience sat in silence as Ethan's music filled the hall. The delicate notes painted stories of hope, sadness, and resilience. Listeners felt a deep connection, moved by the emotion hidden within the quiet tones. After the final note faded, the hall erupted in applause, not for loudness, but for the power of subtlety. Ethan realized then that sometimes, the softest voices carry the strongest messages. His music didn't need to shout to be heard, it needed only to be true. Far beyond the busy highways and crowded cities, there was an old forest trail that few people remembered. Over time, nature had reclaimed it, branches blocked the way, leaves carpeted the ground, and silence hung heavy in the air. For many years, the path lay untouched, forgotten by travelers and explorers alike. Some thought it was lost forever, while others believed it held no value. One day, a young man named Alex, curious and eager for adventure, decided to find this hidden trail. Armed with only a backpack and a map, he ventured deep into the woods, pushing through thick bushes and tangled vines. The journey was tough. Alex faced steep hills, slippery rocks, and moments when he wanted to turn back. But the thought of discovering something forgotten kept him moving forward. Slowly, the path revealed itself, a winding road leading to a breathtaking meadow filled with wildflowers and sunlight filtering through tall trees. It was a secret place of peace and beauty that had been waiting patiently for someone to find it. Alex realized that sometimes, the most valuable discoveries lie not in easy, popular roads but in forgotten paths we dare to explore. He returned to the village inspired, sharing stories of his journey and encouraging others to seek their own hidden trails, both in the world and within themselves. Because life's greatest adventures often begin where others have stopped looking. On a rocky coastline battered by relentless waves and fierce storms, stood an old lighthouse. Its light was a beacon of hope for sailors navigating dangerous waters. For decades, the lighthouse had been tended by a solitary keeper named Samuel. Samuel lived a simple life, isolated from the nearby town. His days were spent maintaining the light, cleaning the lenses, and ensuring the lamp never went out, no matter the weather. Many thought his work was lonely and outdated in a world moving towards modern technology. But Samuel knew the true importance of his role. During storms, when visibility was near zero, his lighthouse was the only guide for ships struggling to find their way. Many times, the flashing beam had prevented disasters and saved lives. Yet, Samuel never sought praise or recognition. One particularly harsh winter, a violent storm hit the coast. The power went out in the town, and communication was lost. Samuel's lighthouse became the only reliable source of guidance. Through the night, he kept the lamp burning, braving freezing winds and crashing waves. When dawn finally came, a rescue crew arrived, led by a captain who owed his life to Samuel's unwavering light. The captain thanked Samuel, calling him a true hero. Samuel smiled quietly. He understood that heroism wasn't always about grand gestures or fame. Sometimes, it was about dedication, consistency, and doing the small but vital tasks that others might overlook. The lighthouse stood tall, a silent guardian, reminding everyone that even the quietest efforts can shine the brightest in the darkest times. In a small town where technology and screens ruled daily life, a young boy named Max found joy in something simple, a paper plane. Every afternoon after school, Max would fold sheets of paper carefully, creating planes of different shapes and sizes. Unlike others who preferred video games or smartphones, Max believed the paper plane had magic. It was not just a toy, but a symbol of dreams and possibilities. With each fold, he imagined flying high above the clouds, discovering new places, and overcoming challenges. Max often tested his planes in the local park, watching them glide and twist through the air. Sometimes they soared far, other times, they crashed quickly. But Max never gave up. He kept learning, adjusting his folds and throwing techniques with patience. One day, a science teacher noticed Max's passion and invited him to join a competition to build the best flying model. Max was nervous but excited. He spent weeks experimenting with paper types, weights, and designs. On the day of the contest, Max's paper plane flew farther and smoother than any other. It wasn't the biggest or flashiest, but it was crafted with care and persistence. Max didn't just win a prize, he inspired others to appreciate the beauty of simple things and the power of perseverance. His paper plane was proof that even small dreams, when nurtured with patience, could take flight and reach great heights.